It's Elizabeth S. Dudley, and I'm known as Betty.
We had ration books for everything. We didn't have enough rations to do us any good. If I'd stayed in a base, if I'd stayed at Portsmouth or New London or something, I would have been all right. But I went back to Marietta. Marietta could care less about that. John, my husband, was the only submariner from Marietta, Georgia. Marietta is now about 50,000 people, but at that time it was only about 25,000. To put the B-29 bombers, we started making those in Marietta. But the ration books we had, but they weren't adequate because we couldn't get gasoline. We couldn't even take, my husband came back on leave, and we were going to take a little trip up into Tallulah Falls. We couldn't even get enough gasoline. We had to go to friends who worked for the undertaker. He would get the gasoline for us to take the trip, mother-in-law's car, to Tallulah Falls. We had nothing. I had no bananas. I couldn't get any bananas. They were scarce. No butter, no meat. I took meat that my friends, I had a friend married to a doctor. They'd bring me a hunk of meat, and I would scrape it off and give my son the meat, and I would just boil up other stuff and make, soup out of it. It was rugged, and we had money to travel. We had to go, we didn't. I was living on 2 potatoes practically. We lived on $150 a month when we first married. That's what I got to live on, and I mean it was really, and we had to move, as I say, all the time. And when I got on was going to across to San Diego, I got down there and I could get on the airplane, but they dumped me in Dallas with 2 children, one year old, one 3. And they said they wouldn't even let me go in the restaurant because they were under 10 years of age. So we stayed there until I finally cried and took all the dirty diapers and went into the man's office who was ever head of the airport at that time, and just sat there and cried with the 2 children. So he put me on the next plane, not the next plane, but the next train. Now he couldn't get me on the train. The people were going back. Suppose this was the end of the war. Now this was 1945 to join my husband on the West Coast. And I mean, there was no real reason, but they still were moving troops. So they just dumped me off and left me there. We really had to fight for it, but most of them were smart enough to stay, in or near base. We had no medical care or anything of that. But Key West was a lawless town, of course. That was my daughter. She was born down there, and it was so hot and I had the rash so bad. They just took a paintbrush and went over it with calamine lotion. But we made a lot of good friends. That's the sad part about it, and we lost a lot of them. We had many of them stay with us in Key West that were going out to the coast to go, on ships out there to get to Japan, and they were lost in the overall picture. One of them had just had ice cream with us something every day for weeks, and then he got lost in the thing. So we had a lot of sad episodes of losing them.